WVU Mountaineer Lair with Kenny has a question about the front runner for the Heisman out of the Pac-12.
Don't need to think long about this one. I mean, it's Caleb Williams, but I mean, let's step back a bit. That's because of the publicity. It's because of the USC brand name. It's because Caleb Williams is a driver of the media engine. Like, people want to cover him. People want to talk about him. But my offensive MVP for USC through 5 games, it's not Caleb Williams. He's been really good, but it's Travis Dye. Travis Dye is doing everything for this USC offense. He's doing the running. He's doing the pass catching. He's doing the pass protection. He's a mentor to Raleek Brown, who's the young buck in the backfield. He's bringing him along. Like, Travis Dye is the ultimate teammate, ultimate warrior, playing through pain. He is doing it all for USC. This offense would be a lot worse without his well-rounded contributions. That's the thing about Dye. He's contributing in so many ways, in so many areas. So, hey, Caleb Williams is great, and he is going to get the Heisman buzz as long as USC, keeps winning at this rate. But Dye has been the best player on this offense. I mean, Jordan Addison's been great. And Mario Williams has been great, but Dye is the offensive MVP through 5 games.
If we've got any mods on the line, if you could help us out with some of these ridiculous posts there in the chat. For some reason, I can't block these. It's forcing me to reload the page. If I reload the page, it knocks us off the air. LBC Trojan, I agree, Matt, about USC owning the Big Ten West. Perhaps that's why Wisconsin blew out Paul Chryst. Gives them a year and a half to get it right before 2024.
I think the point here to make, Mark, and for all our viewers here on the Voice of College Football, is that if other athletic directors wanted Jim Leonhard as coach, like, he had the chance to jump to various other jobs, but he didn't. So I think Jim Leonhard has been patiently waiting, kind of like Brent Venables, waiting for a really choice job to open up. He didn't just pick any old job. He wants the right one. So I think Jim Leonhard has had his eye on succeeding Paul Chryst at Wisconsin. So that door seems to be opening up for him. And obviously the great unknown with Jim Leonhard, is the Jimmy Lake question. Like, does he know how to build an offensive staff? Does he know how to figure out the opposite side of the ball? So one UW in Seattle, an excellent defensive coordinator, promoted from within to head coach after a lauded coach retired, Chris Peterson. Jimmy Lake did not have a clue how to build an offensive staff, a winning offensive approach. So, like, that is the one unknown. Like, I think Jim Leonhard gets the Wisconsin job permanently, but if you are Wisconsin's athletic director, you need to ask Jim Leonhard, what's your vision for the offense? Who would you hire as your offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, on and on and on? That's what we don't know yet. And so really, in many ways, Jim Leonhard is likely to be the head coach. The real intrigue at Wisconsin is who's going to be the offensive coordinator for the Badgers in 2023.
And for all those people that question the move that Wisconsin made and say, how can you do this to somebody who's had this kind of success at Wisconsin? I get it. It's certainly been a nice run for Paul Chryst. He's pretty much fallen in line with Alvarez, Bielema, and Anderson in regards to putting those kind of 10-2, 9-3 teams together that have been primarily the best program in the division during his stay. However, Wisconsin's thinking forward. And I don't know that Paul Chryst is the guy that is going to elevate the program. We've seen fall off clearly for the past going on 3 seasons now. His current recruiting class is 57th in the nation, coming off 41. And Wisconsin's never been a recruiting giant, but still they need to sit more in that 30 to 35 range. And the one thing about naming Leonhard as the interim coach is, for some reason, even though that is also what I believe the plan is to elevate him once the season's over. If it does turn out to be some kind of disaster, or there are some warning signs, they're just in interim status right now, they could certainly back off on that commitment.
One thing to say while we're talking about Wisconsin, hey, remember late January when there were all the rumors about Caleb Williams going to Wisconsin? Good choice, Caleb. Good choice to not go to Madison, because like we remember there was like a 72-hour window at the very end of January when some Wisconsin Rivals reporters were saying, "Oh, this could get done shortly. Could be a done deal. Look out." So good times, good memories here on the Voice of College Football.
Yeah, and that just didn't seem like, with all that is Wisconsin football, just not a fit for a Caleb Williams in any such way.
Well, I mean, there's the Russell Wilson memory, but that was a decade ago, different time, different coaching staff. It's just like it was a thin connection. Yeah,
and just different expectations for how you would play foot. Wisconsin's brand of football in 2010 wasn't that far removed from what, sure, they was still considered smash mouth, pound the ball. They weren't throwing the ball quite as much as everybody else, but it wasn't a far removal from what was possible then, outside of maybe Chip Kelly and what he was doing. But now, especially considering the archaic offense that they're running right now, it's not what would fit Caleb Williams by any stretch of the imagination.